Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
We'll try that again. I know we're not in church, but good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing this morning? Good, good. I trust that you are well, even if you don't articulate it this morning, you're here. And so that means that you're alive and awake to some degree. And you're here because you believe that it's important to be a part of hearing the state of Morgan County. I'm Karen Robertson. I'm the chairperson for the Morgan County Family Connection Board. Thank you all for taking the time and making the investment to be here with us this morning. This is an annual program that Family Connection has been doing for a number of years to bring together stakeholders across various sectors of the community to share updates and highlights information about pertinent specifics that have been happening in their various sectors. We hope that you find this time to be informative and well spent, and that you're also able to make some connections with other partners in the community that might be present here. We like to start on time so that we can get you into the rest of your day. You'll hear from a wealth of experience and knowledge across the Morgan County community here with our addresses from the various speakers that are on the panel to share with us today. But first, we'll begin with hearing from our coordinator for our local Family Connection Collaborative, Veldy Hardy, who's going to share the annual plan and launch that information, followed by a welcome and highlights from our county manager, Adam Mestris. If you would just give Veldy and Adam an applause as they come. Thank you.
Karen, thank everyone for being here. I always say this is one of my favorite events because it brings so many people from different sectors to really hear what's going on in Morgan County. After all, we are known as the Morgan County Family Connection. As I always like to state each year, for those who don't know me, my name is Veldy Hardy, as Karen said. I am the coordinator of the Morgan County Family Connection. One of the things I always like to say when I stand is that you are the collaborative. You make up the work here. You know, each year we come together in January as a community to look at what needs are facing Morgan County, what families are facing, what trends are going on. We come together each year in January to look at data. And we are always thankful for our state office, the Georgia Family Connection Partnership, for allowing us to be able to look at data through various sources to see what trends are going on. And we look at what's going on with education, what's going on in the health, all the different sectors. There's about 20 or 30 partners that come together, again, from the various sectors, and we develop this plan. People look and ask all the time, what is Family Connection? Are you an organization? Are you a nonprofit? We are a legislated delegated authority. We were put in the legislature about April 2000, and we've been that way ever since. We are funded through a line item in the Georgia state budget. We're always thankful for our legislators for continuing our funding to make this work happen. So when I say that you are the collaborative, you are the collaborative. We're not a separate entity or organization. We are a collective people from Morgan County who come together, who want to impact the children and families here. As I stated, each year we come together and we look at data. Some of the data we look at, you'll see in your form that you have here. One of my favorite little snapshot is the birth to 21 profile. And when you look at this, I put 2 years worth of data here. One is from last year that we looked at last year, and one is from this year. When you look at it, you'll see the little color-coded dots. Red means that, well, I'll start with green. Green means that we're doing better than the Georgia state rate. So when you look at these indicators, we are 10% or better than the Georgia state rate. If you see yellow, that means that we are within 10%, whether a little bit better or a little bit worse than the Georgia state rate. And red means that we are 10% worse than the Georgia state rate in these particular indicators. And so on the left side, you'll see this is from last year, kind of what the data was showing last year. And you know, this data runs about 2 years behind, but you'll see how it was reported. We reported it last year. Low birth rate, teen birth, child abuse and neglect. The first two were in green last year. This year, on the right side, you say the teen birth, we had such a low number that it could not be calculated. So that's a good thing. Child abuse and neglect, It was red last year, it's still red. We do have a lot of substantiated child abuse and neglect cases here in Morgan County, so that's always a focus here. The second item, you see family, economic, and well-being. You see that child poverty, it was yellow last year, it's still yellow, which means that again, we're 10% either better or worse than the Georgia state rate. Teens not working in school, children whose parent lack secured employment, both of those are in green, both last time and this time. Get down to education. You see third grade students achieving proficient learning or above on the milestones. Last year was in green, this year is in yellow. Students who graduated on time, we were green last year, we're green this year, green the previous year, babies born to mothers with less than high school education. So you see, we were green last year, we were in yellow this year. And again, this is compared to the Georgia state rate and how we see where that Georgia state rate is, whether that's in itself good or bad. That's up to, I guess, interpretation, but these dots let you know whether or not we are 10% better or worse than the Georgia state rate. So we look at this data along with, when we come to the table, we ask our partners, bring your data. What are you seeing in your community? What are you seeing in education? What are you seeing in law enforcement? What are you seeing in the nonprofit sector, so that we can build a plan? And so when you flip that page over, you will see we come up with our annual plan. This is what we launched in July 1st. Our annual plan consists of our teams, our partners that came together. We still have 3 strategies that we focus on. The 3 that we focus on is children safe and family strong, educating and working communities, and youth development. And we have partners that come to the table for each of these particular strategies in order to reach the goal and to reach the bit tomorrows that we have established. Just want to highlight a couple of things in this plan. Again, this is a 1-pager. The plan itself is about 17 pages long, but this is a 1-pager, quick glance to see what we as a community are coming together to work on. And again, this is the, when we sit down, I ask, okay, what do you want to bring to the table to achieve this goal? What do you want to bring to the table? And so this plan is consistent again of all of you coming together to reach the goals that is set and the outcomes that is set forth in our plan. Just want to highlight a couple of things, like our children safe and family strong, our Baby Bulldog Early Literacy Program. We were a part of the L4GA grant with the school system, focusing on, and our part was focusing on the 0 to 5 population. We hosted several early literacy events throughout the year. Just this past one, we had about 39 children that came and were assessed for early literacy needs. We had, they were singing with Rebecca the Sunshine Band. They had a lot of early literacy events that information that parents could take home for their children and with their children to help these children be ready for kindergarten. So we were very excited about that. Our First Steps program, we serve 125 families each year with that program. It's for all families 0 to 5, regardless of socioeconomic status, whatever. That is open to everyone. It's a brief screening process where the parents come, get screened, just a brief screening, and then get connected with whatever resources, whether it's child seat safety, home safety, maternal mental health, whatever it may be. Our Parents as Teachers program, we have 20 families that are enrolled with that program. It's an intense home visiting program. And really it's our parent educator going into the home, helping parents learn that they are their parents' first teacher. So they can work with their children to make sure that they are ready to start kindergarten successfully. This isn't anything else. The Back to School Rally. We have hosted that again this year. We had about 50 exhibitors that came out and participated in that particular event. We had probably just under 300 students that came through, received free school supplies, backpacks. So this again, our Children Safe and Family Strong is one of our larger initiatives. And again, it's only working because of your support.
Please mention the bus.
Oh, yeah. The first thing on that, the mobile literacy bus, as a part of the L4GA, as it ended this year, one of the legacies that is coming out of that is the mobile literacy bus. It's going to be a bus that is going to be rolling around through the communities where children and families can come on board. They can check out books. They will do literacy activities on the bus. They finished wrapping the bus. It looks spectacular. The engineering students at the school are still doing some work on, I think they said mounting the AC and the generator and all of that. The theme of the bus is if you give a child a book, which is based upon the famous book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And so that bus will be rolling around, probably sometime later this fall. And so we are excited about that. So coming to a community near you, it will be out again, just for families to be able to come on board, do activities, literacy activities with their children and take those activities home. So we're excited.
It was designed and built by the preschool kids.
Oh, yeah, the kids were all involved. Not only are they redesigning the bus and have redesigned the bus, the students at the school had an opportunity to design their own, what they wanted the theme to be. And they did presentations, and the kids at the elementary and primary school, I think, voted on the theme. So that's what, it was 3 themes that were narrowed down. And the kids voted on if you give a child a book. So the kids have been involved with this the entire way. So yes, it's exciting to see that, as even though the grant ended, this will be out in the communities to continue the legacy of the grant. Thank you, Dr. Halsworth. Our educated and working community, just want to highlight, we do partner with the WorkSource Georgia, and the different technical schools. They bring workforce development classes here to the community. We just had a class graduate for the Well Ready program, and those cities here to graduate with the Well Ready program. There was 5 students that graduated, and really they come in, they get these skills, and then they are able to become employed at organizations like Caterpillar and different places like that, where they can make a salary that sustains them. And the last thing is the teammates that I just want to highlight. That's given every year. It is posted through the extension office. It was birthed out of the Family Connection Collaborative, where children get a chance, and students get a chance to come in, 9th grade students, chance to come in and participate, to experience real life situations without the real life consequences. Like, you know, what happens if you drink and drive? There's a real crash scene there, and all partners are engaged. The hospital, the sheriff department, the coroner's office, everyone is involved to make this as real as possible, so children and students can think about the decisions that they make. What happens if you make poor choices about sex, and, you know, learning what all the STDs and all of that. I worked that event for several years, and the kids come in, they have a big party when they come in, and they're excited, but by the time they get to me, I was at the counseling at the end. They're really surreal. They really think about, some of them say, I died, and I had to go to the funeral home. I had to write my own obituary and say, you know, who's going to tell your parents? Who's going to, you know, so it really makes them think, if I make these poor choices, it's bigger than me. So that's a great event that we have each year. So again, I just highlighted a few of those things. As you see, there's many, many more, and even many more that is not on this one pager that we are working on this year. So again, we can only do this through you. I hear all the time that we were able to make connections. We have more enrollment now because we are a part of this collaborative. So again, it's a great way to network. It's a great way to make things happen in our community, as we all want to positively impact those around us. So from myself, from our board, I do want to say again, thank you. I want to thank all of the presenters that come every year to present and to share a snippet of what's going on here in Morgan County, because together we can make a difference. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody on a Tuesday morning. Velly, as always, thank you for your leadership and what you do for the collaborative, and thank you to everybody that's here this morning for being part of what makes Morgan County great. Right, it's looking around the room and being able to see that we have so many people to partner with and be able to do different things to just to improve the quality of life and everything that we're doing in Morgan County, not only from our youth, but all the way into our aged senior living. So thanks for being here. I'm going to cover a couple of highlights just real quick from the county level, and I don't want to steal anybody's thunder up here from everybody that'll be presenting after me, so I'll be as brief as possible. I had the long speech, but then they told me to limit it to 3 minutes. I don't know that that's possible, but here goes. Buckle up. Just real quick, y'all, we're doing such great things here in the county, and our collaboration that we have from the county level with our partners, with all of the cities and the Board of Education, the hospital. It's great, right? We're strong as a community. We're better when we work together. That's something that we achieve and try to do each and every year, each and every day. We're going to continue to do that as we move forward into the future. Just real quick financially, everybody always wants to know what's going on in the county. I'll talk about last year's budget that the budget year we just completed. We had a $25.8 million FY24 into June 30th fiscal year budget. I'm excited to announce that we came in roughly 9% under budget in expenses. So that's a true testament to our team and the message we push out, that we're working with the people's money. Everybody in this room that pays property taxes here or spends money here, not everywhere yet. So I don't want to ask for a show of hands of who has it or who doesn't, but we're continuing to expand. The county has committed up to this point over $3 million to make sure that we're getting broadband access to as many people as we can. And what's more important about that number is that the partnership that we have with Charter and the EMCs is we are putting in well more than what we've put in to make this initiative work. We learned a lot. Broadband's always been at the forefront of our minds. I've been hearing that my last 7.5 years here, but when COVID came along, it changed everything. And a lot of people work from home. It changed how we work, changed how we learn. And a lot of that has not gone back. There's been a lot of efficiencies in working from home. Obviously, we can't really do that at the local government level, but a lot of businesses did not return back to the office because they found that they can have more savings and be more efficient when they're letting people work from home. And you can't do that without reliable internet. So if you don't have that yet, it's coming. Just bear with us. Our partners are out there steadily trying to get more houses on every day. And we do have a kind of a timeline of December 26th that will hopefully have most 95% of the county turned on. And then we're continuing to collaborate with them to get as many people broadband as possible. The other big thing that I want to mention is our recreation expansion that we're doing just down the road here. That's a $25 million legacy project that the county is doing that's extremely important to our community. As Veldy said, what we're doing is kind of a collaborative, is trying to make sure that we're providing opportunities for our youth to be good stewards, be good citizens, and be good future leaders of our city, county, state, and country. And the only way we can do that is we got to keep kids engaged. We got to keep adults engaged in what we're doing at the community level. And if they're playing ball or any of our sports or swimming, that means they don't have an opportunity to be mischievous and be out in the community doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And I think that's a testament to what we do and our partners in law enforcement to make sure that we have that outlet for our children. So that program, that expansion, if you happen to ride down on Old Buckhead Road, there's been a lot of movement there over the last year. There'll be a lot of movement coming on over the next 8 months. But just to highlight that, we'll have 4 baseball, softball, multi-purpose fields. We're adding a Miracle League field for a special needs community, which is really exciting for us. And then in the background, if you ride by and you see the big pile of dirt, that will eventually become our community center, 40,000 square foot community center with 2 full-size regulation basketball courts, office space, classrooms. On the backside, we have a pond there. That'll be a catch and release pond, and then an event lawn. So we're hoping to be able to do a lot of stuff, tie that back in with Billwood Park. It's not going anywhere. We just want to be able to continue to offer those opportunities for our youth all the way up to the senior adults that are here in our community. So those are a couple of big things that are going on. And I'll end with this because I think it's important. Everybody will be getting their tax bills here in the coming month or so. So stay tuned for that. But I am proud to announce that for the 7th year in a row, we have been able to roll back millage here in Morgan County at the county level. And we did that just a couple of weeks ago where the Board of Commissioners adopted the rollback millage rate of 9.686 mils, which is huge. Now, what comes with that is everybody says, well, you roll back the millage, but my tax bill went up. And that is true for probably 100% of everybody that's going to get a tax bill this year. But let me take 30 seconds to explain that. First, last year, the governor gave a fantastic tax break to everybody in the state that had homestead properties. On the high end, that was about $400 off. That was a direct reimbursement back from the state to the county, so there was no loss of revenue there. But that was a benefit to each homestead property taxpayer in the county and the state. That's not an initiative that continued on this year. So everybody that had a $400 reduction last year will automatically $400 on their bill this year. So everybody's bill will be by at least some amount for those homestead properties. And then just the increased value that we continue to see. I don't know if it's a good problem or a bad problem, but people continue to pay over asking for houses in this county and across the state. And, you know, we gotta keep up with what's going on there. So that's the other piece to that. So we're trying our best to lower the millage rate to help compensate for that. But that's why you see that. So if you hear it from anywhere else in the community that may be different, that's why I'm talking to all of you fine folks to help spread the word about what we do and why we do. And I see our friends from the press in the back that always do a good job of trying to explain that too. So with that, there's a lot more to go. So I'll sit down and be quiet. Thank you for your attention this morning.
Thank you, Adam, for your comments. And again, I'm going to shadow a little bit of what he said. Great job for Veldy and Karen both, and everybody who's on the board of the Family Connections. Do a great job trying to incorporate a lot of the things that are on the work plan into the community as a whole. I'm Bob Hughes, and I'm a little bit correction on the title in here. They still got me down as President and Economic Development Director. I'm no longer President of the Chamber of Commerce. Shay Daniel is taking that position, but I am doing the economic development for Morgan County. The state of the economy in Morgan County is really, really good. Even with the shutdown of Flambeau, you know, we've got an expansion planned at Bard Manufacturing, and that's going to be about 107,000 square feet. They're not going to employ but about 20 to 25 people, but they're doing that expansion along with the 45% matching grant from the Department of Energy, because they're going to be building heat pumps. So that's really good. Our unemployment typically in Morgan County for the last 12 months has run anywhere from 2.75% to 3.25%. Let me explain a little bit how that's done. When you look at the unemployment rates, what they're doing is looking for people in the workforce. Those are folks that are between jobs or that are apply for unemployment compensation because they're lost their job at wherever they are. And those are people that live in Morgan County, even though they may work someplace else. So it's not a true reflection of what's going on. We've heard some reports that have come from media that the city of Madison is 0% unemployment. That's not true. But we've got a lot of folks that are the hardcore unemployed. There are also a lot of folks that are between jobs and a lot of folks that don't want to go to work. So if you've got any kind of a drug problem that's going to keep you from getting a job, if you have a lack of education, that's going to slow you down in getting a job, a good job. Work ethic is also going to have something to do with it. I served on the WIOA, and Sid did a great job of bringing in a gentleman that had a 4th grade education. And he went to get his GED, and he was working hard on his GED and looking out the window, and he saw the welding truck. And so he wanted to go out and learn to weld. Well, he did such a good job at that, and he moved on up, and with Sid's encouragement, he went on to one of the technical colleges and improved his welding ability. He's now working at Kubota, and it used to be when he'd go take his kids into Walmart, he'd sit there and say, I don't know that we can afford to get that right now. Now he goes in and he says, get whatever you want. Okay, so that's the difference between the education, and that's a person that was short of the workforce that is now in the workforce and working, like I said, for Kubota. And he is just a diehard fan of being able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So anytime you look at the unemployment rates, it's unfortunate that there are about 300 people in Morgan County that are not employed. That's what the number means, because our workforce is about 10,000. But when you start looking at the reasons for that unemployment, there are things that people can do to help improve their standing in the community and their standing in economics. We have about 50% of the people that commute into Morgan County to work.
I feel like a broken record, but I do want to thank Karen and Veldy for all they do for our county. And as Adam kind of alluded to, you know, when you look around the room, you can see what does make us special and great in the community. Just waited for me to go. So what we're doing well. Just again, I want to thank all the community support. Just so many people I know in here after the last 5 years. I know I've heard a couple of times we're better together. And I remember doing the I guess this public service announcement 5 years ago in the middle of craziness. I don't want to say the C word, but we've come a long way certainly as a county and very proud of that. Our vision and our strategic plan says about learn, lead, and thrive. That's kind of the words that we sort of kind of guide us as a school system. So we really try to keep that in mind as we work forward. Adam did a good job talking about the budget of the county. Our budget this year is going to be just around $48 million. Last year was a little about $43.5 million. So we're very proud of our budget. We've been able to do a lot of things with this budget, especially in redoing our local supplements for our teachers. I think you're going to see a big impact when they see that change next month, hopefully. And so we're proud of that. We also are rolling back to 13.09, which is the lowest millage I can find for the unique times in the last many years. And that's 26th lowest in the state of Georgia. So as Adam said, people are probably going to see some uptick on some things based on a few caveats. But I think as a school system, we've rolled back. Keith can tell probably longer than I can, but 10, 12 years. So it's been a long time. Again, we just keep rolling back and we're able to kind of make do. But I think we're good stewards of our money and trying to do good things with that money that we have. Our fund balance, we try to keep it about 4 months of salary. And we're a little bit over that, a little about $14 million. And so we're proud of that. And I think, again, our budget's going well. He mentioned East Floss. That's a big deal. I don't know where he got that we get more money. I haven't seen that figure. That I think it's around $7 million. I didn't bring the exact number, but it has made a big difference. But things do cost a heck of a lot more. I know the county can attest to that as well when you're building things. And with that extra money, we've been able to really kind of be very strategic in applying it to some projects that were much needed in the school system. We've made some upgrades around our system and our campus. Really thanks to the county as well. We've done a track redo. We've done a tennis court as well. I mean, I don't go around many communities. Y'all can probably say the same thing, that you see such nice amenities for a county like ours, especially of our size. So that's something to be very proud of. One thing that we're in the middle kind of in the middle of right now is our ag barn. They call it the Morgan Agricultural Learning Lab, the mall, and super excited to kind of reinforce that aspect of Morgan. That's one of the areas too that's very special and important to Morgan, our ag community. And I know some of you agree with that probably very strongly. But we have a great looking barn and ag mall, I guess, going up barn. And we're excited about that. Should be done a little bit ahead of schedule. We're hoping by hopefully the end of October. So that's looking very good as well. As far as the first few days of school, it's all about the traffic. I know you love getting around the first couple of days, probably avoid Madison's probably a good idea, but all things considered, which is relative, it's going really pretty well, honestly. We work very closely with our sheriff's department, and we've got a traffic guard now that we help support as well, and they supply that person. So all that's made a big difference, I think, over the last couple of years. We've gotten a little bit of an idea about how we do things, and so I'm very proud of how we kind of coordinate that under the circumstances. Our primary school alone, we unloaded about 415 cars in the morning. So think about that, putting your hands on that many students that are that age. How long that takes. They do a fantastic job. I know they made it emphasis. Our enrollment, it's been pretty stagnant, if you want to call it.
He did actually say that, but
fast at the very beginning of 2021 or 2020. I think a lot of that's because we were in this COVID problem. People found a way to get into school. So it jumped up pretty quick from about 3,100 or 3,000 students to 33, 34, 35. But the last couple of years, we've been right around 3,500 students. We're about 35 now. So just going about 30 students, very manageable. compared to my days in some other counties that grew really fast. I'll take that any day. A lot of times we're, not a lot of times, but in some publications, we're considered one of the top 10 school districts in Georgia. And that's not because of anything I do. It's just that we have a great staff, great people in our district. We have one new principal and she's doing a fantastic job. We certainly miss our former principal at the high school. But we've got we attract great people and we're, special place. And I think that makes a big difference. One thing that we're very proud of is our graduation rate. And for the 5th year, we're over 95% or not over 90%. We're over 95% for the 2nd year in a row at 95.1. Again, that's something to be proud of. One thing we're seeing some really good signs and direction of our test scores. And I don't want to make it all about test scores a lot of times, but it does indicative of some of the work that I think that we're doing. But our end of course and our end of grade test scores exceeded the state and the our RESA, which is the regional area around us. And our AP scores were at all-time high for pass rates. So there's a lot of good signs that we're going and making some concerted, gains in some of the area. And I think all of our systems suffered a little bit during COVID. That was just the fact of life. But I think because we were in session, a lot of the work that we've done post that time has made a big difference in that. So few things real quick. The issues that we're working on, we did get East Bluffs passed again. That was the primary that we did ours in. So we thank the community for that support. We really are just, finishing up paying off our middle and high school. We got a couple more years of that. And then we will turn our attention quickly to the new primary school and elementary school, which will be very exciting, I think, for our community and start that in a little less than 2 years. So we're really knee deep in planning. It takes a lot of work and a lot of people doing that. Very proud of that. We are going through accreditation, which is very fun, as Coleman knows in the back there. He's doing a great job with that, but it takes a lot of input from a lot of people in our school system to make that work. And that will be at the very beginning of October. That process has changed a lot, but we think we're going to do very well with that. We're also updating our facilities plan. We have to do that every 5 years. That'll go along with our new schools as well. And I always need to say this, literacy is so important. I know we got people that believe very strongly in that, and we do too. That's our main job. If we get kids that read, I think we've done a really good job. And I think, again, we're making some good strides in that, but we have great partners, whether it's First Foundation or Family Connection. I think that's making a big difference. I'm excited about the bus as well. Some successes that we have. I mentioned about some of the pay-as-you-go projects we've done with our extra money. Those are some successes. That's great. Again, thank you to the county. We've done some good things on that, and I'm excited about the new schools. The challenges we face, though, are still there. I mean, they don't change. I put this down. I was telling our staff at the beginning of the school year, I can write this down every year probably for a while, but social media is a huge challenge for us. Mental health, how that affects mental health is a big deal. As a school system, we try to be proactive in that area. We have 2 full-time mental health counselors in our district. I don't know how many have that, but we do, even for a system our size. That's not including our other counselors that we have in our district who do a fantastic job as well. So we make a big effort in that, but that is a big deal, what it does and the impact it has on our school system. Safety is also one of those things that you kind of just think about all the time, and it's something you worry about. If there's anything that keeps you up at night, it is probably that. We're lucky to have such a great sheriff's department. We have an SRO at every school. That's all great. This year, we hired a full-time safety coordinator, Doug Conley, to do that, and he's already paid a lot of dividends in that. And again, we're trying to be proactive and put our money where our mouth is, and that's an important aspect of what we do, and that's his focus all day is just safety. What can we do? And with 4 schools, that's a big commitment that we have for that as well. Healthcare costs are a huge issue. For a while, it kind of paused. Now, probably like the county, everybody, we're really seeing a rapid rise in some of the increases in healthcare. But we're handling that, I think, as well as we can on that. So overall, I think we have a lot to be proud of in our school system. We have a great team. We have a great board. Should have mentioned at the beginning, we have some former board members in here who just laid that great foundation. But we have a great team, I think, that starts at our central office in all of our schools, and just very proud to be just some part of that school system and what we're doing here in the community. Because I think as we go, really a lot as Morgan goes. So thank you for your support, and we think our state of our school systems are very strong, and we will continue to learn, lead, and thrive. So thank you for having me today, and I guess it's Chairman Kirk, maybe, or we can.
Thank you, Virgil. I appreciate it. Adam went over the budget a little bit, and it's $59,216,000 this coming year. That's a lot of money, but I want to point out that this budget has been crafted. There are no frills in this. This is what it takes to operate the county. But there are many other things that we need to do that are not contained in this budget, because if it was, taxes would be sky high. And that is SPOS and T-SPOS. Thank goodness SPOS passed, and thank goodness T-SPOS had passed. T-SPOS is projected over the next 5 years to give us $17,879,000. Now those funds will be used for transportation issues only, such as resurfacing roads, purchasing equipment like bush hogs, tractors, sidearm cutters to maintain the right of ways, and of course, the purchase and replacement of the equipment. Main item in this is Morgan County has 305 miles of paved road, 80 miles of dirt road that have to be maintained. There's no way we can do this properly without T-SPOS. To put that in perspective, from where you sit to Brunswick, Georgia is 268 miles. We got 305 miles of road, so that's a lot of resurfacing. 3 years ago, paving cost the county $150,000 a mile. Today, it's $300,000 a mile. The expenses just keep going up, but fortunately, we have the T-SPOS. But in addition, we've got SPOS. So over the next 6 years, we're anticipating collecting $32,961,000. Those go for general areas. Very important: public safety, fire, EMS, sheriff, and 911. Because of SPOS passing, we have added a third ambulance. It will operate between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Before, we had a quick response vehicle which could get to the scene of an accident or a medical emergency and stabilize the person, but they could not transport that person. This ambulance will be able to transport. So we're very lucky to have that. We're going to build 2 new combination fire EMS stations, one on the east side of the county and one on the west side of the county. Have a fire training facility over here at the sheriff's department. We're going to cover the ag complex arena, and we're going to renovate county buildings. About a year and a half ago, y'all, of course, saw the courthouse, exterior of the courthouse being renovated. Badly needed. It had not been touched for 20 years. Well, because of SPOS, the paint was sprayed, the soffits were repaired, the roof was repaired, repainted, and most of all, the bell tower was in terrible condition. That has been taken care of. Growth. 32 years ago, I escaped from DeKalb County and moved to Morgan County because it had a great way of life. It is our goal to try to keep Morgan County as rural as possible. We cannot control growth, but we can manage it. And we will manage it through zoning. We have enacted new zoning regulations. For instance, on a county road, for somebody to build a house, it has to be 300 feet of frontage. We don't want houses all jammed up together. New subdivision regulations. Subdivisions have to have street lights. They have to have curb and gutter. The lots have to conform with particular zoning. In other words, in an AR agricultural residential area, if there's water available, it's 3/4 of an acre. If there's no water available, it's 2 acres. It's things like that. What we've expanded is to keep houses from being 10 feet apart. I ask you to go to Newton County, Rockdale County, and Walton County and look at the new subdivisions that are being developed, and then come to me and tell me that's what we want. We do some of those houses in Walton County, if you run out of a cup of sugar, you don't have to go out the front door and in the door of the next door neighbor. Just reach out your kitchen window and have some of the neighbors one, and they'll pass you the sugar. We don't need that. New construction, and there will no longer be houses built on grade. They have to have a raised foundation. They have to have siding to garages. There can be no more metal siding and no more vinyl siding. It's gotta be a masonite type material, or it's gotta be rock or stone. The yard has to be landscaped. The yard has to have sod. So what we're doing is, these developments are coming, but we want them to look nice. And where we are proud of them. And so far, it's working. And wanting to keep the county as rural as possible, farmland protection is very important. I'm sure you saw in the paper where we're working with the Madison Morgan Conservancy. About a year and a half ago, they came to us and asked if we would participate with them to assist them in purchasing these permanent easements. If it dropped below 75, it could not go below 60. If it went below 60, then agriculture was no longer viable in the county. We are proud to be able to participate with the Conservancy in purchasing these permanent easements. We have approved up to $250,000 a year to be devoted to these easements. And I want to point out, that is not tax dollars. We would not have done that if it had been tax dollars. These are pilot payments from Meta or Facebook, and that will be used. And next is Carrie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Mayor Pro Tem Carrie Peters Reed with the City of Madison. I want to say thank you to Velde Hardy and to Karen Robinson. The City of Madison, feel like I'm having to stretch a little bit. Okay, the microphone's on, so that would help as well. So I am Mayor Pro Tem Karen Peters Reed with the City of Madison once again, and good morning to everyone. I would like to thank Velde Hardy and Karen Robinson for such a great event each year. The City of Madison, we will be completing our transportation plan and update the major traffic issues in the City of Madison. With that, we will be using T-Splice, excuse me, you all. We will be using T-Splice to proceed independently with a much-needed transportation plan. $100,000 not derived from property taxes. We have 4 active sidewalk projects, roughly 1 per election district. We have 2 trail projects. We're investing $1 million in T-Splice funds to secure $4.5 million to build trails in the West Washington Street Gateway, as well as to preserve the Horse Branch. We are planning a new fire station off of the Madison bypass. We are implementing a new stormwater ordinance to address flooding issues in the city. And we are drafting a city economic development plan to possibly work with the county that outlines the type of development that we want, and it goes for the number of jobs that will be created. I didn't talk about our budget in the beginning. Everyone else talked about the budget at first. I'm going to talk about our budget last, okay? We took the rollback rate of 5.317%, and our budget is $22.6 million for this year. I am very big on workforce housing. I heard the county talk about housing, and we don't want houses real close together, but in the city, in the county as well, we need houses. We have people in our city that don't have anywhere to live. We have people that knock on my door or come up to my salon daily that don't have anywhere to live. They're living out of their cars. They pull up to my house in their cars with their kids. So we need housing. Maybe not right beside each other to get a cup of sugar. But we need houses for the kids that we were talking about that are abused. We need houses for our citizens and for our kids in the city and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Veldy. Howdy, folks. I'm Ralph, and I'm going to do my best to stay within the 300 seconds allotted to me. This is the first State of Morgan County forum since we turned 5 this past December. Much has happened since that chilly morning on 19 December 2018. In the last full fiscal year at our South Main Street campus, our acute care population for the year on the medical surgical floor was 111 in observation and 99 inpatients. For the fiscal year just ended 30 June, there were 454 patients in observation and 209 inpatients. Swing bed came in at 279 and 306 respectively. In surgical services, the 101 procedures in 2018 were all colonoscopies. For 2024, we performed a total of 722 procedures, with general surgery coming in at 99, orthopedics at 79, podiatry at 66, plastic surgery at 63, and rounding out specialty surgery with gynecology at 33. The balance, 382, were endoscopies, which includes colonoscopies. Quite the growth indeed. The hospital authority continues to invest in the infrastructure of the medical center. One of the biggest investments we made in 2024 was establishing a joint replacement program with a $2 million investment in the Mako smart robotic system using 3D CT-based planning, AccuStop haptic technology, and comprehensive data analytics for total knee, total hip, and partial knee replacement. What is notable about this approach is the system, under the guidance of orthopedic surgeon Dr. William Ashford, tailors the surgical needs of each patient to improve accuracy and recovery time. What I mean by that is that Dr. Ashford takes this advanced technology and plans the surgery around exactly what your joint looks like and all the slight variables that are unique to you, the individual. This surgery, which historically has been invasive, painful, and required a long recovery, now takes less than 2 hours, and the patient returns home the same day. We recently upgraded the Hologic mammogram machine to the latest state-of-the-art high-definition version and received the American College of Radiologists accreditation for it. Next month, we will significantly expand our existing nuclear medicine program. Over the past 6 months, we have acquired 2 nuclear medicine cameras at the cost of over $300,000 to provide this service 5 days a week. Lastly, for imaging services, this past May, we introduced the Magnetom Esprit 1.5 MRI system. This technology offers patients a more comfortable wide bore MRI screening experience with an extra wide opening where the patient's head stays completely outside of the machine, no longer being stuck in a torpedo tube for half an hour. For the 3rd year in a row, we saw over 10,000 patients in the ER, less than 100 patients shy of 11,000. Of that number, 2,370 were children. We have worked diligently to earn the trust and respect of the communities we serve, to continue the evolution and growth of our local community hospital. And I want to stress local and community. Adding physicians and specialists to the medical staff is essential. This list includes, and it is not exhaustive, cardiology, orthopedics, otolaryngology, pediatrics, primary care, and urology. It takes time and it takes money to attract and maintain a specialty physician practice, which brings me to my final point. Rural Hospital, we provide many and services And the authority's goal is always to grow that list, like some of the things I just mentioned. You, Morgan County, can help us grow and attract even more physicians. The next time your doctor wants you to have labs, x-rays, a colonoscopy, physical therapy, or to have your gallbladder out, tell your doctor to send the order to Morgan Medical Center. Why leave the county for services that we provide? It is your right to go where you want to go for your health care. It is your care and it is your truth. Tell your doctor you want to stay local for health care. On behalf of the hospital authority and the staff of Morgan Medical Center, we thank you for the opportunity to participate today. The state of healthcare in Morgan County is great and continues to evolve in both breadth and complexity. Patient-focused center of excellence is our vision statement and my expectation of every single employee in the building. Evolution, excellence, execution. Morgan Medical Center. Come see about us. Thank you again for your attention, and you also have a great day.
So I promise I will stay below the 3-minute timeline. Veldy, Karen Robertson, thank y'all very much for the invite. Good morning, all. It's a pleasure being here for the 8th Annual State of Morgan County Forum. I'll step back here. I am not Roy Whitehead Jr. I am Colin Campbell, the Assistant Chief of Police. Chief Whitehead could not make it this morning, so I'm here in his place. Over the last 12 months, the Madison Police Department, we are doing very well. Since last year's forum, our department has answered over 7,275 calls for service. We have worked over 507 traffic crashes, worked over 421 incidents, and have performed over 1,300 traffic stops. Since the last forum, Chief Bill Ashburn has retired. Interim Chief Roy Whitehead was appointed, and I've been told in the next couple of weeks, the city manager will be appointing the new chief of police. Since the last forum, we have hired 2 new officers this past June. One was already certified and just successfully passed our field training program and has been assigned to our Uniform Patrol Division. And one is currently attending the police academy with a graduation date in September. We currently have 3 positions available though. We had an organizational study completed in March and are successfully implementing recommendations from this study. Though in its early stages, we're working towards becoming a certified agency in the state of Georgia. Certification status through the Chiefs Association represents a significant professional achievement for a law enforcement agency. It acknowledges the implementation of policies and procedures conceptually sound and operationally effective. Certification is about best practices and provides a comprehensive blueprint for effective professional law enforcement. We are also excited to announce that either this fall or next spring, we are going to have our inaugural Citizens Police Academy. This program will consist of classes 1 evening a week for approximately 6 to 8 weeks, and those attending will immerse themselves in the operations and practices of the police department. Participants can experience what it's like to respond to emergencies and learn about the exceptional men and women that keep Madison safe. I'd like to end today recognizing the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, our fellow local law enforcement agency, and the great work that we do and they do, and the men and women of both agencies going above and beyond their duties to keep Madison and Morgan County safe. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Keith Howard, Morgan County Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff regrets he can't be here today. He's on a family vacation, so I'm the surrogate to stand in his place. And if you don't mind, I know we're limited on time, and I have a number of things to talk about, but I want to take a proud father moment, if I can, with a family connection, if we can do that. So I'm up here listening to Mr. Kurtz talk about the Conservancy, and I'm thinking about last night. And some of you know my younger son, Wynn. He's, I think, preparing to present a presentation tonight, Conservancy, at the Board of Commissioners meeting. Very, very proud of him, 24-year-old individual. And he's talking to me about, hey, I'm going to run some things by you. And he does. And he says, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And I said, well, I'm actually going to a meeting and I'm doing some presentations too. And he says, what are you going to talk about? And I said, well, I got some notes written down on that. He said, Dad, let me give you some advice from a Gen Z to a boomer. He says, you need to write those, you need to put those on your phone, put your notes on your phone. So we're going to see if it works. So if you talk to him, you tell him I took his advice. As I'm on the twilight of my career and he's coming in to help the county with smart growth, here we go. So a couple things I do want to talk about. Probably the bigger highlight for us in the sheriff's office is, that's made a tremendous impact, is our flock camera systems and the license plate readers. We call that our dome with protection when we first started talking about it 5 years ago. We've really invested, or the county, I should say, has really stepped up and invested in that in the last 3 years. But here's some of the impact of that. While there's over 30 cameras or 30 license plate readers out there in the county right now, I think 9 are in the city, I believe. Yeah, so 9's in the city. There's 11 by the county, and then some HOAs have 6. We have 2 portable. The city of Bostwick stepped up for 2. Rutledge and Buckhead each have 1 apiece. But in implementing those, we have gone from about a 40–60% solvability rate in our crimes to about an 80+% solvability in our crimes. So I just want to share that, because that's a significant investment with regard to those camera systems. And they're not open to the public. We have to have an investigation to utilize those. That's also probably in the last 3 years in particular, we've seen about a 30% reduction of our investigations due to that. Because if you're quick to arrest people and have a lead for that, then you put them in jail. Good evidence keeps them there longer, and they can't commit more crimes. So that has had a tremendous impact on us. In the jail setting, we average about probably 70 inmates on a daily basis. Our captain's here today. They do a fabulous job of managing that. A lot of mental health, a lot of medical issues that we have to deal with on a daily basis. But probably the bigger project that started, again, funding issue that we're completing, is we have a jail camera and door project that should be coming to completion by the end. That enhances the security of our jail as well, and that's good for both the inmates and for our staff as well too. So we'll be glad to see when that project is finished as well. The sheriff has probably stood up here the last few years, and we've kind of bragged a little bit about the fact that we don't have a lot of vacancies. And unfortunately, right now, and during this summer, we have had a lot of vacancies. We've dropped from about 1 down to 10. We've worked hard to probably fill those in the last few weeks. This morning, I double checked. We have 8. We have 5 patrol vacancies, 3 in the jail. So now is a great opportunity. If you know anybody who wants to be a part of Morgan County Sheriff's Office, tell them to please send us an application. We'd be glad to consider them. But that certainly, I believe 5 years ago, or actually 7 years ago, when we started the discussion about the Condrey and Associates study, we had 9 vacancies when we sat down in my office and talked about that. That was a tremendous benefit that study was for the county. It slowed the bleeding, and it stabilized us for a long time. So now that there's been an update, I guess the results of that will be forthcoming at some point in the future. But I imagine again that will stabilize us once again and be a benefit to the sheriff's office and their staff as well too. So we're looking forward to that as well. And saving the best for last, or maybe it depends on how you look at this, the sheriff is retiring at the end of the year. That's certainly a great thing for him. But I want to point out something historically. For 220 years, roughly, there have been 22 sheriffs in Morgan County. Sheriff Markley will be the longest serving sheriff by 1 year. Only one other sheriff has served 23 years, and that was in the late 1800s. And every other sheriff thereafter has only served maybe somewhere between 1 to 12 years. So that's an accomplishment within itself. We're resuming it. When y'all told me that last night, I got to thinking I better not say too much because we hadn't talked to him yet. But we are planning some type of a celebration for his legacy, and we'll be forthcoming with that date when we get there. So again, I can't say enough again about everybody up here in the collaboration, not to drag it out, but certainly, as Dr. Cole said about traffic, they stepped up. It's been much better in dealing with our traffic the last couple of years in the school in the morning. And the city and us have always collaborated well. We always know we can talk to each other and we can be there when we need each other. And that's, again, a big benefit for the county. And if we haven't mentioned it before, we do swear in many of their officers to have county jurisdiction. So when we need a backup, they're there for us when we need them. So with that being said, that's all I have for you. That's a highlight. Those notes did help. I'll have to tell you, man. That was a good help. And Mr. Strickland, I believe he is next, correct?
Good morning. So I guess I have 25 minutes. Don't worry, I did bring some notes. I don't put them on my phone either. I use a little binder, old school, but they're not 25 minutes worth. My name is Brian Strickland. It's my first time coming to this event. I'm in my second year representing Morgan County in the state senate. Believe it or not, I'm finishing my 12th year overall at the state capitol. I served 5 years in the House before and my 7th year in the state senate. But like I said, the second year here in Morgan County, when redistricting happened after the 2020 census, I was able to pick you guys up as part of District 17. Honored to get to represent you. I live in McDonough, the area Virgil mentioned earlier that grew way too fast. We couldn't keep up and still can't keep up in McDonough. And when I first came out here, someone said, you're one of those, let's see, DMPs. Does anybody know what that is? He said, I was a damn McDonough person. And he said, y'all are taking over this place. And I quickly learned how many people were coming from Metro Atlanta, of course, out here. And of course, Henry County as well. And as the chairman said, because you wanted to go back and have a more rural lifestyle. Of course, met a lot of people lived here their whole lives as well. And so an honor to get to represent you, honor to get to be at the state capitol speaking for you. You have just me in the state senate. You also have Tim Fleming as your state house member, as you know, as well. Of course, Dave Belton, I got to serve with for a long time in the House, your previous House member. So the two of us work together to represent you at the state capitol. I want to briefly give a state of the state in a sense, and then I'll close this out. There's never been a better time, I don't think, to be at the state capitol in office. Georgia is seeing our economy booming like we've never seen it before. We have so much money coming in that we've been the last couple of years giving money back to the citizens. We know that inflation is hurting everybody, and we know that property values rising means even if millage rates are cut, a lot of times you see your expenses go up when it comes to your property tax bills. We know that our counties, our cities, and our school systems are paying more for everything like the rest of us as well. And so I was proud to support giving most of our additional revenue back to the people as led by Governor Kemp, whether that be through tax cuts or through other funds, such as the money to help with assistance with your property tax bills. The most important thing to me for us to remember is it wasn't very long ago, such as when I first got started at state capitol, where we were having to cut our budget. And so we balance our budget every single year. And so we're trying to make certain that while we see extra money coming in, we're not creating new programs or doing things that require us to keep investing down the road. A big emphasis has been on public education, fully funding QBE, getting our teachers' salaries up with more raises for our teachers and other school board employees. We've also seen big investment in our healthcare, trying to make sure we have quality healthcare in every corner of our state, as was mentioned earlier as well. And of course, a big investment in our state public safety as well, our law enforcement officers. And this year, over $1 billion in new money in transportation infrastructure as well. So I'm excited, and I could talk for a while about all the great things going on, but we also have challenges, as we all know. And a couple of the big things that to me is related to this event and the purpose of this Family Connection event. Some of the big things that we see as challenges for us. One, as was brought up a couple of times already, is mental health. We all in this room either have personally experienced some sort of mental health issue or addictive disease issue or know someone that has. We know how this impacts everybody. We know how this impacts our school system. And we are finally seeing a big step forward at the state level on this issue, starting back in 2022 with the passage of House Bill 1013, which was the first big step in our state recognizing our need to do a better job in delivering mental health services and services for addictive disease. We have worked over the last 2 years to find more ways to continue to do a better job of dealing with this issue in our state. And as I said, when I was able to present House Bill 1013 in the Senate, it's great that Georgia's #1 state for business. What I hope, though, is that in the coming years, we'll be the #1 state for mental health services as well. And that is happening on the ground in your county, as was mentioned. I was so proud to see the investment our Board of Ed is making in mental health services in our school system as well. Literacy was mentioned. That's been a big push, especially in the state Senate, with our new investment in literacy programs at the state level. And also foster care. We look at the kids in foster care as our kids at the state level. And we have had a system that's been way too broken for too long. And we had, I forget the number now, of kids that were sitting in hotels that weren't even in homes 2 years ago. And we've jumped into that issue, and unless something's changed since I got here, we currently have no kids sitting in hotels in our foster care system because of the work we've done. Last thing I'll mention, a new issue that is not a new issue, but something we're trying to take on at the state level, and that's issue of childcare costs. I'm not talking about the state coming in and paying for childcare. I am talking about us possibly leaving money on the table at the federal level that we could be getting to assist, and other things we could do to help everybody with childcare costs. And we see with our economy booming, we see all the jobs that are coming to Georgia. We see jobs that want to come to Morgan County. We heard this mentioned earlier from Bob as well. There's reasons people don't work, but one of the reasons people don't work is it costs more in childcare than you can make working, or you can't even find childcare. And we see that our childcare facilities themselves are having issues getting people to work, and they have childcare issues too. And so starting next week, I'm chairing a study committee that's going to meet over the next 4 months to dive deep into the issue of childcare affordability, hoping next session will come back with some solutions to at least assist with that issue. So I'll start wrapping up here and say, every time I talk about the state capitol and what we do during our legislative session, if you come and visit the state capitol during session, you hear me say this as well to every group I talk to. We try our best to show you how we're not like Washington, D.C. Everything we do, we try to have a contrast in us and D.C. We have our partisan fights, we have our political battles, but what I hope you see is just a few of the issues I brought up today. We're looking for ways to take on real challenges that affect everybody, no matter who you are and where you live. And I know I can speak for Representative Fleming when I say this too. We do our best to stay out of their way. Our job is not to come into your county and tell you how to run your board of commission, tell you how to run your city, tell you how to run your school system. We try to stay out of their way and be supporters of our local governments at the state capitol. And so in Morgan County, it was brought a couple times saying, together we're better. We speak in one voice. One thing that I have seen in my time in politics, I've seen counties that do it right, and I've seen counties that do it wrong. And the counties that do it wrong go up, and one city is looking at doing things one way. The county's looking at doing something differently. One commissioner is going up there asking for something different at state level than the chairman's asking for. Our school system's not talking to our cities and our counties. There's so many ways we don't work together. We all have our own independence. We all have different roles in this room as to what we're doing in our county and our state level, at the state level. But most important thing, the counties that have been successful is they talk to each other as we're doing today. That's why this event to me is so great. We're all coming to one room for an hour and a half and talking to each other and learning from each other. And second, we try to keep our disagreements here. And when we have disagreements, we have them at home. We make sure at state level we speak as one voice. And as Morgan County grows and all the challenges that we have, it's going to be very important that we remain one voice at the state capitol. So thank you so much for a chance to get to close out the event today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I knew when you walked to the podium with those boots on, your presentation was going to be amazing. So thank you so much, Senator Strickland, for those rich words, for those great highlights from the state. We appreciate your representation and your leadership, supporting Morgan County and speaking on our behalf at the state capitol. Thank you again to all of our presenters, our panelists, for your representation here today, for sharing highlights from your various entities. It's always great to hear what's happening across our county. We know some good things are happening. We know the challenges are present, but the fact that we are communicating, just as Senator Strickland said, it's our ability to be that much more successful and impact our children and families in the direction that we want to. Thank you to Family Connection board members that are present here with us today. Thank you to Veldy for her stellar leadership of our collaborative. She has been leading us with excellence for many years, and we're happy to continue to support you in doing so. Thank you all for your participation and your attendance. Hope you have an amazing day, and we look forward to your continued support of the Family Connection Collaborative. Thank you so much.
Oh, picture. Look for your mugshot.
You want to stand?